Genetic modification of humans and evolution, magic or science. You've said that the task of the higher forces is to create the perfect human being. Initially, yes, at least for humanity, but it seems they haven't been very successful. They have abandoned this idea and allowed it to take its own course. So what would it mean for humanity if they succeeded or failed? The thing is, this function has now been passed on to humanity itself. In other words, it is no longer the gods who oversee human selection. That function has already been transferred to humans. Don't you see how genetics is advancing? Before long, the programming of human consciousness, abilities, and potential will take place at the level of the zygote. Certain abilities, certain informational capacities, including magical ones, will be embedded in a person from the very first cell. Genetic selection and genetic engineering will serve as indicators that humans are continuing the work of the gods. They, too, are cultivating the perfect human. Think about it. Look at it from this perspective. Nothing ever comes into existence in this world unless it is needed. And if science and genetics are now progressing by leaps and bounds, it means they have a purpose. Moreover, the programming of the human body and mind aligns with the interests of the gods who once initiated this process. Only now, they are not doing it with their own hands, but through humans. That is precisely what they are engaged in now, and it is not surprising. Just try looking at it from another angle. But if the gods failed, how can genetics succeed? Why do you say that they failed? We survived, didn't we? And the selection turned out quite well. Just look at yourself, an example of successful selection. 1,000 years ago, our ancestors didn't live past 25, and look how long we live now. And what about Atlantis? Didn't they attempt something similar, creating a perfect human? Well, first of all, the concept of human didn't exist in Atlantis. Everyone there was a demigod. Perhaps they performed such experiments, but the only reliable source we have about Atlantis today is the works of Plato. And that's it. Everything else is simply channeling, which one may choose to trust or not. Plato never wrote that humans lived there, nor did he claim that a human race inhabited Atlantis. He stated that the Atlanteans were the children of Poseidon, meaning they were demigods. Accordingly, they possessed neither a human mind nor human consciousness. And whatever they were doing there, Plato described it in entirely different terms. He had no concept of genetics. Today, we might reinterpret it using modern analogies and suggest that they studied telepathy or genetically modified one another. But not humans, because humans did not exist there. The human race began to emerge much later, and Plato describes this as the so-called Iron Race. But did the structure of the human soul originate from there? Of course, the structure of the soul could have come from other worlds, including Atlantis, but trust me, there are many different primary sources. So does this mean that the structure of the soul does not care which body it enters? No, it does care. At first, in its early incarnations, it doesn't care. As it gains experience, it doesn't matter. But later, it chooses its body very carefully, because there's no need to have the same experience twice. It must always be different. I mean a genetically engineered modern body, a perfect and happy human being. For example, the way Huxley describes it. Honestly, it is quite frightening. Well, the idea of perfection and happiness changes with each era. In the past, having a piece of bread and a roof over one's head was considered happiness. Today, we have become more demanding, and our definitions of happiness and unhappiness have evolved. In fact, it is not very difficult to program a human being to be happy. It is enough to ensure the correct biochemical composition of their blood, and they will be absolutely happy all their lives. The only thing is that such work is not permitted at present. But that is a matter of time. Eventually, everything will be allowed, and in 100 or 200 years, it will be completely normal for genetically modified men and women to visit clinics and select specific qualities for their children. Moreover, mark my words, genetically modified humans will, in time, be regarded as the aristocrats of society, the ideal humans. This is my prediction to you. So, there will be an evolution of the body, an evolution of consciousness, and an evolution of the soul's structure. Yes, exactly. Right now, it is happening through natural selection, through nature, consciousness, and self-development. But in the future, it will unfold differently. And this too is programmed. The ultimate goal for humanity is to create such a program, to write the program of reality, so that humans themselves become gods, returning to a state of being a god. And to achieve this, humanity must explore every possibility, every tool that the gods possess, including genetic engineering as one of their instruments. So if we step away from a numinous state, the state of our own insignificance, in which God is everything and humanity is nothing, we can acknowledge that, yes, humans may be insignificant, but they can still aspire to become gods, and they are moving along that path, progressing quite steadily.